In this chapter, I just want to talk about a very simple tool that a lot of the old masters used to use, and that is a simple reverse gradation. Now, basically, a reverse gradation is this. If this is the shadow side of our statue, we're going from dark to light in that direction. Okay? Now, we want to do the opposite. We want to use, and I'm not going to match the values here. Again, this is all about where you want to take the values in your drawing, and it's not about always matching, because sometimes you have a limited photograph to work from, and sometimes your photograph doesn't necessarily come out the way that you want. Yes, that does actually happen to some of us normal people. So basically, I'm going to go from a middle tone, and now I'm going the opposite way to a light middle tone. And so I see this is very important that you guys get this, and I hope that I'm going to explain this correctly for y'all. I see so many drawings that are really good in the members art gallery. What is lacking in the drawing is a reverse gradation, and even bringing it to the next level, a reverse gradation that is done on a diagonal. So let's say you're doing a portrait that is done from a photograph. It's a very boring portrait, straight up and down, no angles in it whatsoever. You can, not only make that, and this is important too if the photograph was taken with a flash on the camera, which is something that a lot of people do drawings of, people with, that type of photography. If you throw in the reverse gradation, and then better yet, you do it on an angle or some kind of like gesture, that would be such a great addition for you to add to your drawings, and it would just give it a whole lot more power and a whole lot more boldness. Now, this is where I would ignore the cast shadow over here, and I think that would be really cool. So this would be a study. I don't know if I'm going to do the final cast drawing this way. This is kind of cool. I might do it a traditional way. I might do my next cast drawing with the reverse gradation done on the diagonal. So basically now what you're doing with this reverse gradation is you're simply creating movement and atmosphere. And one side of the gradation, the edge is going to be very hard. So perhaps I would do a real hard edge over here in my light. So I bring this tone right up here. Depends on where you want me to look. And then the other thing that I really didn't mention with the modeling factors, but all this stuff kind of ties in. This is where my hard edge would be, but then in my shadow I would have a soft edge, and I would lose my edge right over here from my shadow into the atmosphere. So that is going to be such a wonderful way to create atmosphere by control of your reverse gradation, and then edges being incorporated into your reverse gradation. So I'm totally losing an edge over here. I mean, there's still like perhaps a 2-value shift, or maybe a 1-value shift from this value to this value. Maybe this is a 5, and maybe that is a 6, and it's just one shift, whereas this could be like maybe a 2-value, and that could be like a number 10, 10 being white. So now what I would do is I would just continue with my modeling factors. And I can cheat a little bit here. I can just make where the line that separates light from the dark a little bit more. I can go over it multiple times like this. And that's going to be like my dark halftone. So I'm kind of manipulating a little bit. Again, these are all real subtleties that you want to think about incorporating into your drawing. So now, let's say I was going to just give myself like a live area. Make sure I get this on the video screen. Let's say that was like my live area. I could bring this right up to the top, and now I can just kind of gradate to white, or gradate to a light tone. Gradations are going to be absolutely huge in your drawings because they just create dimension. No gradation, flatness. Gradation, total dimension. Now this, I could just bring it to white if I wanted to. Depends. I really could have like a wide gradation, or I can have a skinny one the way that I had. So if I wanted to go with more of a wide gradation, I can blend in underplane here of that arm. Again, I'm not matching the values of the photo. I'm just showing you the options that you have. So you don't always have to do exactly what you see. Like, you're not going to be a copier. You're going to be a creator. Again, I think I'm going to copy. But then again, I'm not going to be working from the photos. You might want to try both. You might want to try a drawing where you manipulate the values, like what I'm doing here, and you do the reverse gradation. And then maybe you want to try drawing from a photograph where you totally match the values all the way around. I think both, it's a win-win because you're learning so much. So basically now, let me just push this. You have a real dimensional feel to the drawing. You're creating an atmosphere. You're controlling your edges. I'm giving you a lot in this chapter. This is all like crucial stuff, and I used it on almost every single illustration that I've ever done. In terms of like little micro sections. So let's say if I had like 3 people in a painting, I would think about this gradation on all of those individual people. You can do it on the whole as well, but so let me just kind of finish this. So squint at it, and it's still working, and I'm not really being too anal about and picky about having this thing be perfect. But this is the way to render, and this goes across all disciplines. Digital, traditional, fine art, illustration. You can do the model and factors thing really brought up like to the next level, to the 9s. If you're doing like a comic book character, you can have this side of the shadow be like purple, this could be orange light, and you can pull out. See, this starts to destroy the form. I just want to show you this. If I pop my reflected light too much, now I destroy the form. And this is another problem a lot of people encounter when they're first starting to draw, is they'll see a little light over here in the shadow, and then immediately what they'll do is they'll make it ultra bright, and then that reflected light is just has too much importance. So you don't want to do that. You're going to destroy your overall form. Again, it's up to you and how you want to draw, and that could be like a stylized thing that you want to do. But for this particular drawing, I'm trying to show you traditional methods, and it's cool to learn the traditional stuff so then eventually you can break the rules and manipulate. Now, I'm not doing all the underplanes in the light. I'm just doing the left to the right, the light and the shadow. We'll get into the underplanes and all that jazz in the next chapter. So that's my reverse gradation, and you want to think of this almost like a rhythm thing. That since this is going straight up and down, it's so completely boring. You put your tone on a diagonal, and then you're kicking some serious butt. It's something I teach a lot in my life drawing class because everyone gets benefits. They're doing like a quick little 20-minute study. They just throw in like a quick reverse gradation, and it looks awesome.